Hello, everyone. This is Caleb with KingsAdvisors, and today we're going to recap some of the gaming news that we got over the last couple of days. Now, over the week, I plan on making some videos covering some specific games and talking in more detail about what I expect of them. But this is just going to be about the Xbox Showcase. So, Microsoft announced many games, as we can see from here, and I'm very interested in some of them. I'm going to skip over some of these games mostly because I don't really plan on getting them or playing them. I want to start with Fable. Growing up, my brother loved Fable, but I could never really get into it. It just kind of felt a little too goofy for me. And back then, I really wanted a more grittier and more realistic game, sort of like Kingdom Come. Now, that came out later when I was in high school or college. I can't really remember when it came out. But that's kind of what I've always looked for in a sword game. So Fable has never really been my cup of tea. But this one kind of caught my eye, if for no other reason than Richard Ayoade is voicing the narrator. Now, what I want to say is that with the exception of some worrying VX effects on the main character, just not looking very effeminate, I almost want to say, just ugh. A lot of this actually looks kind of
roughing
fun.
up bandits because
it looks like
to rough up bandits.
Now, the one thing I want to say is, I don't really think we know whether or not this is actual gameplay footage or if this is just engineered in engine or cutscenes, which video game companies seem to do more and more lately. But as a fan of Richard Ayoade, not just his character in IT Crowd, but his in general, I really enjoy his Gadget Man, and always a fan of when he appears on 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. This just kind of seems par for the course for him. He's kind of a goofy guy, and this kind of seems like the kind of game that he would be in. The trailer provides a bunch of action shots and things like this. We see here that it looks like Richard's actually a very tall guy, and the main character a quite tiny individual, which from just kind of looking at images and videos of Fable for years, kind of trying to decide whether or not I would actually play the game, feels like happens a lot. It feels like there's a lot of very big enemies in Fable. Going past that, though, it does kind of look fun. Again, they've really got to fix this character art for her. I don't know what it is, but she looks terrible. And it's kind of something we've seen a lot lately in a lot of female-led video games. The female characters just don't look effeminate. They almost look manly, and I don't really understand why. But like I said, Fable's never really been my cup of tea. I know my brother is really excited for this. I know that there are a lot of people really excited for it. And it doesn't look terrible. It looks like it might kind of fit into that world. I think it may also depend on whether or not you are pigeonholed into playing this character that we see in the trailer. It's very possible this is just the placeholder character, in the same sense that when Star Wars and Lucasfilm put out images for Knights of the Republic, they had a specific character they used, but you could still make your character look different. It's the same thing with Skyrim and any sort of character creating game. If we look back at the list of games coming out, I also want to talk about Avowed. Now, I'm not really going to show footage for most of these. There's a couple of things that I'll kind of talk about, but I just kind of want to look at this page while we talk about some games. Avowed, I thought kind of looked really interesting. The very first time I saw the trailer, I had just woken up because I was up really late watching Le Mans. So I was watching this very tired, and I thought it looked a lot like Forspoken, and that really bad PlayStation 5 game that came out 4 or 5 months ago. But it kind of looks almost like an Xbox version of that, at least in the moment it did. And it already looked better. I remember seeing some of the gameplay and thinking The sword combat looks better. The sword combat, it kind of looked more fluid. Now, the same issue kind of exists, and this is in Fable, that we don't really know if this is in-game engine, if it's actual gameplay, is it cutscenes. The beginning looked very cutscene, and then when you see the guy with like the green skin and all that, that started to look more in-engine gameplay. But even to the point that it didn't quite look like gameplay, it almost looked more in-engine, which is, as I understand it, building scenes using the gaming engine, but that doesn't mean that's what the game will look like. That's why at the bottom of your screen, when these trailers come out, you always see something that says something like in engine, not representative of the final product. So for a while, I've wanted a really good swordplay game with really good mechanics. Kingdom Come filled that void for a while, and it was really great. I kind of went from Kingdom Come back to Skyrim, but I've really been missing that swordplay. And I've never really been a huge magic guy. I always pick the warrior as my character in any sort of medieval game. I don't pick elves. I don't pick wizards, of course, unless I'm playing Lord of the Rings. So I'm not really sure that this is particularly for me, but I definitely have it on my list to kind of like follow along and watch and see what more information we get out of it. And I'm actually kind of hoping my mind gets changed. I'm hoping I decide, oh, this looks amazing. I'm getting this. Now, the great thing about so many of these games is that they are day one Xbox Game Pass games. So if you have the Xbox Game Pass, you get to play them on their first day of release. Now, one of the games that I'm incredibly excited for is Clockwork Revolution. Growing up, I really enjoyed BioShock 1 and 2. And while I didn't initially like Infinity, it grew on me. So I think this looks really good. It gives a really big BioShock vibe to the point that I'm actually kind of surprised it's not Infinity 2 or BioShock 3. Even with Microsoft claiming that the similarities are unintentional, I can't help but think they're lying and actually testing the waters for a return of this sort of steampunk world. Of the games revealed at the showcase, I think this one is probably the one that I think has the greatest potential. Now, there are several DLCs and extensions coming as well. We've got Flight Simulator 2024, a Dune expansion for Flight Simulator, Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island, the Atlantic City Fallout 76 thing, and stuff for Overwatch 2, which I'm not even going to talk about. Now, while I haven't watched Dune, the Dragonfly ships that they showed in the Flight Simulator expansion look incredible. But what I'm really excited for is the Sea of Thieves Monkey Island expansion. Now, as a recent convert and heavy enthusiast in Sea of Thieves, I cannot wait for more tall tales and islands to visit. There were so many thoughts running through my head as I was watching that trailer. And the first, when I saw the Lucasfilm logo, I thought, oh my God, we're getting some sort of Star Wars partner. Now, obviously, that's not what happened, but I can't help but hope that partnering with Lucasfilm means that we're going to get some sort of lightsaber or blaster skins for our weapons, and that would just be exactly what I want. I would love to have a whole Star Wars theme enter into Sea of Thieves. That would be so much fun. Now, another thought that was running through my head as the shipwright in the trailer was kind of discussing types of ships was, are we getting a new one or a couple new ones? It kind of feels like we're missing a size somewhere in between the ones we have. So I'd really like a new one, mostly just because I want some new stuff, some new things that are going to kind of shake the game up. Beyond those games that I mentioned, I'm really excited for Forza Motorsport, especially with the inclusion of the Cadillac that actually just finished racing at Le Mans last week. So I'm really excited to see what Forza brings to a new motorsport game. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like on modern PCs, consoles. I want to see just an upgraded experience, something that I kind of feel we've been lacking in a lot of video games recently. You know, we've gotten a lot of day one tweets from game companies saying, "Hey, we're so sorry it's not working like it should be." But that is a different video. Now, we have to talk about Starfield, the game that I genuinely think will the game that I genuinely think will have us all talking for months and years starting in September. The first thing that I want to talk about is just how great everything looks. There was so much stuff that we got to see for the first time that obviously just looks incredible. And this being a gameplay trailer, this is what the game should actually look like. I'm not going to really play everything. I'm not going to play through the trailer like I do in some other videos. More just kind of look at stuff. Like, I mean, these worlds just look amazing. Now, you know, we're not really sure how many of the worlds have been computer generated and how many have been created by people. Usually because people generated planets, I feel like wind up looking a little more realistic rather than computer generated. I feel like that was one of the big things when it came to No Man's Sky. But this just looks incredible. And the fact that, you know, we're going to be able to do inner atmosphere flying and flying through space, I'm really excited for it. And I like the look of this. Now, what I do want to say, and you know, you can call me a Howard simp, you can call me a Starfield simp, but I'm really excited for this. But having said that, I do feel like a lot of the mystery has been taken out of this game. So we had an hour-long showcase of this game, basically. And there was so much stuff that they explained that I feel like a lot of the mystery is gone. Now, I didn't watch these type of events as a kid. I didn't go to them. I sat at home, I waited for my Game Informer magazine, and that was it. I feel like when games of this caliber came out prior to, let's say, 2010, we had very little idea of what to expect. There would have been the trailer, the announcement trailer. There would have been probably a gameplay trailer. And of course, the Game Informer article that I mentioned. But beyond that, at least to my recollection, there wasn't anything else. And I kind of missed that. I missed the wonder of playing a game and being truly surprised when something happened. I'll still never forget what it felt like when I saw the twist in Knights of the Old Republic, or when I had to pick between Ashley and Caden in Mass Effect. I feel like if those games were made today, all of those big things and the stuff that makes the game so amazing beyond just twists and turns would have been spoiled. Imagine if when Halo 3 Forge was announced, they showed those racetracks and UNSC ships people were so fond of building and were always so amazing and clever to see and kind of see how these people put these things together and would time things so that they drop at certain points. I just don't think it would be nearly as cool if Bungie came out and said, "Hey, look at this really awesome stuff you can do, and here's a great example," and showed us the racetrack. Now, aside from that complaint, aside from the feeling that a lot of the, I almost want to say filler, but not filler in the same way that you get filler in a TV show, more of the characters that you don't really see. You hear them, the music, the environments, even the customization, I consider kind of a character in a game. Seeing all that stuff already, I feel like it's diminishing what we're going to feel in September when this game comes out. All of that aside, I'm still really excited for this game, and I really am interested to see how Bethesda and Microsoft do space. I just think they're sharing too much. Now, those are my thoughts on the Xbox Showcase. Obviously, my Outlaws thoughts will come out in a later video. As always, thank you so much for watching. please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. What was your favorite part of the showcase? Do you think I'm crazy on anything I said? Are there any games I didn't cover that you would actually like me to cover later on? Please let me know anything in the comments. Can't wait to hear from y'all.